So yeah, so it's kind of been a while since I've done a video. I'm kind of bummed out because about 2.5 months ago, my hard drive kind of died. My external hard drive died, and I've tried to be really zen about it, but it's kind of like starting to hit me that I've possibly lost 20 years plus worth of documentation of shit I've made, which I'm not so much concerned about like old stuff, like the actual when I was making shit, but then when I think about all the video and like photographs, digital photographs and other digital things that I've worked on that I no longer have access to. And yeah, I know. I mean, it's like somebody, with any brain would have would have backed that stuff up like a long time ago. And, I just took a chance and it was really stupid. But I mean, the stupid thing, even more so, was that the external hard drive really wasn't all that old. But, for whatever reason, it just kind of went kaput. And, I'm still hopeful that somebody out there can recover the data without me having to spend a shitload of money. Yeah, anyway. So it's just kind of this project I had been working on is basically kind of all for naught now. And it's really annoying because the key component of that entire project was shooting kind of stop motion type footage on the iPhone with that kind of rapid, when you hold down the little shutter thing. It's not really a shutter, I guess, but and it does like the rapid fire, photo taking. That was really an integral part of the piece, and it was like really important in part of the project that it was a whole year's worth of doing that, like from January 1st to December 31st. And there was already, it was already probably going into about a 15 to 20 minute piece. And then this year was going to be about doing some straight up video. It's going to be spliced in with that stop motion sequence footage. And yeah, and it's kind of like, well, that's not going to happen, or it's just going to have to go, just going to be put on the back burner. And now I'm kind of like, maybe I should just start making shit again because that's, I don't know. Anyway, it's like, c'est la vie. Like I said, I'm trying to be really zen about it. I'm not upset. I mean, I'm definitely not losing sleep over it or anything, but, I will never not back my shit up ever again. Anyway, like I said, really idiotic thing to do. But, it's, in the grand scheme of like making the worst mistakes of your life, it doesn't even come where, like it's like way down. So yeah, there's like, I'm trying to think of anything that's really worth talking about on here anymore. I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what a blog is actually for. Do people even actually read blogs anymore? I don't know. I mean, Andrew Sullivan's going to stop blogging. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. That's like, whether you like him or not, that's still a major thing, being like probably the most famous, most read blogger in the history of blogging. So it's kind of like, wow. And yeah. On a completely unrelated note, I don't know, like I feel like I'm being trolled on Facebook, so I don't really stay on there very much anymore. And when I am, I'm very selective of who sees my post because I don't know, like there's like weird people that apparently I went to high school with that I don't really want to be connected with them. And it's kind of bizarre because it's a case of where somebody asked me to be their friend on Facebook, and then a few years later they don't really like the kind of things I have to say on Facebook, and then it's kind of like these weird exchanges that happen And one of them was like, well, you can just unfriend me. And I'm kind of like, well, you friended me. I mean, I kind of made a video about this already, so I don't know why I'm rehashing it. It's just, it came up again recently, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's just weird. People are weird. I went on a Twitter, like, well, for me, like a rampage the other night about the word privilege, because even though I get that word and I use it myself, and I think people should be hyper aware of like their privilege. That said, it's kind of like, you know, where they're coming from and their background and their ethnicity or whatever. I mean, how that plays so much an integral part in the kind of people we are as we move through life, and things that, you know, might get handed to us figuratively or literally because of those things or not, you know. I mean, I think there's just a lot going on. However, I think it's weird recently. I just feel like every time I read anything, there's always like all these people who just like constantly comment about like, well, that person needs to check their privilege, or that person's privileged to blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, don't you really just want to say that person's a fucking asshole or a cocksucker or I mean, I guess I can't even say cocksucker anymore, can I? Because even though I am one, but so I feel like I can say that. So it's like, yeah, so you just, I mean, really, I just feel like the word privilege is now being used as just a really sanitized way of calling someone a jackass. And I don't know. It's like, call someone a jackass. It's like, have some balls. It's like, call someone a jackass or a cunt or a fucking shithead. It's like, I don't know. It's like a lot more satisfying, and B, it actually is addressing what you're trying to say, because what you're really saying is that your thought processes are so fucking archaic and inane that you're just a dick. And I went to Sundance, and that was really exciting because I've always wanted to go, and it was interesting. It's like I want to go again, but I would want to stay like 3 or 4 days instead of like 2 days. It took me probably the first day and a half to kind of get kind of acclimated to what it actually was and what was there. And I went with the college group, so part of my time there was, I think, you know, dedicated to making sure that trip went really well for them, which is, you know, that's my job, that's fine. But it was kind of like, I felt like by the time I was able to actually go see movies and really enjoy what was going on, I realized like, oh shit, we leave tomorrow morning. And so it was a lot of fun. And also got to see one of my nieces, which was like totally rad. So that was really cool. Because I've always kind of avoided film festivals as much as I love film. I don't know, like, I find sometimes, like, because there's so many film festivals here in San Francisco, and it seems like that crowd that's always like gathering outside of theaters, they just, I don't know, it's like, they're kind of annoying. I don't know, it's weird. Sort of the way like regular gallery goers are kind of annoying. I mean, you know, no offense, I know a lot of regular gallery goers, and I don't know, it's just weird. It's a weird culture. I just feel like a lot of times it's just people who have nothing else better to do with their time. And I'm like, why don't you just go hang out at a bar and have a scotch? Because I just feel like that would be like a lot more productive, and the conversation would be a lot more interesting instead of like trying to pontificate over a bunch of fucking nonsense. Yeah, I don't know. I keep thinking every year that I'm going to do more writing, but I find it really hard to write anymore. And then I think, well, maybe I should shoot more video of me doing just this, and then I don't even do that either. And it's just, I don't know, like, wow, I'm 47 years old, and it's like, I don't even know how I got here. It's like really crazy. And then I think like how much I want to like, I don't know, like where do you go? And maybe losing the hard drive thing, or like maybe the hard drive going out, which is kind of like, that's, you know, like it's very liberating that the hard drive died. It's like, and I think that's okay. Trying to think what else. I don't really know anything else, because, I mean, you know, nothing that you really care to know about, because, I mean, not that any of you really gave a shit if you made it this far into this about my hard drive, but I just feel like sharing it. So anyway, if you have an external hard drive, or even just your regular hard drive on your computer, back it up, because I just feel really bad, because I've been thinking like, oh, I want to get this print made of that really nice, and then I'm like, fuck, I don't even have the you know, the original file of that image. I've got like what I have on the blog, and it's like those images are like so low, you know, they're like size for the web. I mean, they're great for the screen and all, but they're only like barely 1,000 pixels wide. Yeah. And it's raining. Yeah.